welcome to Whiskey and Synths. This is a channel that combines whiskey drinking with music making. I'm Dave, host of the channel here. Welcome to the show, man. I'm making an installation, like a surround sound, kind of interactive installation for the National Gallery of Scotland, but it's for kids. And one of the things I've got to do is make theme music for it. And because the installation's based around a sort of quest, I want something quite kind of energetic but mysterious, so I'm going to make a sort of ambient techno thing. So I want you guys to imagine Daniel Avery times Legend of Zelda. That's what we're going to go for tonight. So welcome to the episode, guys. If you like the channel, don't forget to subscribe, hit the ding, the bell button. That means you get future notifications on other videos we've got, like studio tours, artist interviews, and all sorts of other tips like that. So yeah, no whiskey in the channel tonight, but I do have one of my favorite beers ever. It's from Scotland. It's the Tin Man. Okay, so it's kind of a tropical IPA. It's from Williamsburg, which is my favorite brewery in all of Scotland. Maybe one of my favorite breweries ever. It fizzed up in a little bit in my bag, sorry. Oof. Get this down, you guys. If you're not in the mood for a whiskey, have one of these instead. Hope you enjoy it tonight. Thanks. So everyone, thanks for tuning in. Like I said, making some tunes today, a bit of electronica for an art installation. It's gonna be like a game for kids, I guess. So I'm thinking like Daniel Avery style vibe, electronica, deep, spacey times Legend of Zelda. So yeah, how am I going to do that? Because I also want a bit of a Scottish kind of vibe as well, because it's the Scottish National Gallery this is going to end up in. It's meant to be like a quest, a mystical journey with wizards and demons and stuff like that. So how am I going to start? I didn't even know. I've not got much time to do this either. So I thought, tell you what, I'll just look up my favourite traditional song. Boom, the Sky Boat song, just there. I hopefully you guys can see that. And it's got like the chords there and stuff. It's traditional, so you can take the chords, no problem. And what I've done is made a little MIDI clip with those chords in it. Wow, I used the single notes, the root note of the chord, the tonic note, and changed the pattern a little. And you can see this is on a pad, Dreams OV North. These samples I've got are from my favourite producer ever, an absolute lord of synths called Lego Welt. And if you don't know him, check him out. Maybe pronounce Lego Welt because he's from Holland. Absolute genius, this guy. He's amazing, but he's so generous. Loads of the synths he's got, he makes samples from and just shares them to his community. So, you know, this is from the DX7, the classic Yamaha digital synth. They're pretty expensive, so it's quite cool he's sharing these. So I've got the Dreams OV North pad, but it's not just that. I've totally added another one as well. Check this out. I'll play it in time, hopefully. Hear that? Another element to the pads, doing the same chords, but stacked up. Now, one thing you've got to be really careful with is when you're layering sounds, is don't put two bass things together, don't put two mid things together, don't put two high things together. It's because they can clash. You really want to have like, oh, this is like sort of low mids and then higher mids above it, because you've got the kind of breathy sounds of one of them you can hear here, and then the other one a little bit more kind of like a church organ or deeper or something like that as well. So yeah, together they give me the sound I was after, and also the sort of bed for this track that's meant to be a bit ambient. So that's what that is there. Next up, I wanted to add a little bit of movement to the track. So I had this channel here, which is the CR78, samples from a classic drum machine. I've got the samples from Mars CR78, but you can get it in the Ableton kit as well. It comes with Ableton, that kind of sound. I'll just play it, it's really simple. Here we go. percussion setting. Solo it, you can just see how I'm sending that to return A and return B, which takes the signal and goes into the reverb and the echo I've got going here. This echo is a new feature in Ableton 10. You can do loads of cool things, and it's based on a kind of vintage style echo thing as well, which is kind of cool. Remember, if you're sending things to a return like that, you've got to set the dry wet to 100%, because here is your dry signal and this is your like wet signal, and if that was set at 50%, some of that dry would be coming through there and it would just be increasing the volume rather than making it an effect. So remember that, be careful with that, ladies and gents. So we've got that, and then next up I thought, oh, I want some melody. So I added it using the PSS 390, which is a little Yamaha keyboard, my first ever synth. So let's have a wee listen to that. Now, what I've done is I've added this Fab Filter Saturn plug-in to it and give it a lot of drive, which in the highs it makes it sparkle, like, kind of gives that crunchy sound, a bit distorted. And kind of Electronica and kind of ambient techno, all these kind of textures really add up and they're worth doing. Like a bit of saturation here, a bit of modulation here, a bit of bit crushing here. You know, use effects, don't go crazy with them, but definitely choose where you want to add them, and you know, it can add this layer of texture that keeps things interesting to the human ear. I'll take that off so you just hear it without. Much more simple. I think it really sounds nice with that. So I'll unmute that, unsolo that. So yeah, and then I was like, alright, cool, what are we going to do next? Probably need some more percussion, so I just added a basic 808 pattern. I added a basic 909, a little tom loop. What I'll do, I'll just fire them on off for you just now, so you can have a little listen to them as well. Bit of rhythm to it now, you know, because it's meant to have energy, be exciting. So in the 808 one, I'll show you, pretty simple I think. We have, let's look at the mini clip. We have our bass drum and maracas almost doing the exact same thing. So when the bass drum hits, you get a little kind of like a little bee or something from these maracas. The bass drum, you'll notice, this last one has got a lower velocity stalk there, and that helps it just give it a bit of feel. These are super important, like when we look at the hi-hats on number 9, if I can solo the 909, you'll see that I've manipulated not all of them, but quite a lot of the fills. The hi-hats are different velocities there. It just lets it breathe. So just for all your drums, maybe not always the kick drum, but hats, percussion, mess around with these hi-hats. And normally what I'd say is like, if you got two hits close together, the first one's quieter and the second one's louder, like kind of like that. That's kind of a natural way you play it. If you're playing drums, you go so yeah, think about that. If you're too close together, first one quieter, second one stronger, and that's the way I'd do it anyway. So this is all pretty simple so far. And then we've got a tom loop. These are like kind of toms that I thought sounded a bit medieval, sounded a little bit like, oh, these can be played on animal skins, you know, proper down at the bazaar in the market. So they're like, you know, like these RPG games. I thought, you know what, I thought this tom would work quite well. I'll solo it. There you go, you can see I've EQ'd a bit of the bass out of it. EQ'd everything, and I'll talk more about that in the mix. This is how you separate things, give things clarity, take out the bass from these toms so the bass of the 808 drum sounds better. One thing I've done with these is I've actually set them to repitch here. Now this is where you've got your warp algorithm, and it can give it a different vibe. But basically, this is how it time stretches it. So when it's set to repitch, it's like if you've got a record, you change your speed, it pitches it down or it pitches it up. It's almost like that. So these are probably slightly pitched down compared to their normal sound. So that's what I've got so far. I'm pretty happy with that. And then it's like, oh, I'd quite like some bass in this. So I added the DX7 solid multi-bass. Like DX7 classic digital synth, like we said, I want that kind of housey 80s synth vibe. And this one's beautiful. It comes from the sample pack. I was on about samples from Mars one, so let's have a listen to this. One beautiful thing about wanting a Scottish vibe is you use this thing called the pentatonic scale. Pentatonic means like 5-note scale. So I have to play 5 notes this whole song. It's total genius and it gives me the vibe I want. Pentatonic scale, I love it. Now, if you play the pentatonic scale and the notes are close together, it sounds Scottish or Irish. But if you play them with big jumps across the keyboard, it sounds a little bit kind of oriental. It's kind of a cool trick. So I think I've used C, D, E, G, A. Yeah, pretty sure C, D, E, G, A. So they're the ones I'm using, and that was determined by the chord pattern from the Sky Boat song I showed you earlier. So that's my bass there. And then afterwards I was like, oh, I need to maybe add something like, I don't know, guitar to this, like acoustic guitar. I can't even play acoustic guitar that well. I'm just this battered old one with only got 4 strings on it. But I thought, hey, I'll give it a go, and this is what it sounded like. So that is of course going through effects. We've got the fab filter, compressor, compressing it a lot. And that will be squashing down these big peaks down to the same level as the rest of the signal to make it a bit more manageable. And then got chorus, it's going through a phaser, and it's going through a resonator, which gives it weird resonating sounds over different tones. And to be honest, I don't even really know how that one works. It's quite mad. The chorus almost like doubles the signal and then delays it a little bit, so it sounds like 2 at once almost. So yeah, running it through that, and I thought it gives an extra nice organic sort of flavour to it. And then lastly, I added some loops from a chord monologue, this guy up here. It's in this channel here that says number 10, so it's patch number 10 on it. Let's hear what that sounds like. I've added SAR into that again. Fab filter, absolutely driving that to 90%, loaded of saturation on that. And then erosion, which is another kind of plugin that makes it all distorted and mangled. So we've got this kind of glitchy loop, which gives it this computer games flavour I was thinking of, I think so as well. You got this blend of organic, gentle sounds with more harsh digital sounds. And in blending, everyone always goes on about analog, and analog's great. This is from an analog synth, but I've made it sound a little bit digital. Then I've used digital synth samples. Just use all the colours you've got in your palette, alright? Just make it work. Next up, I'll play the verse part of this and I'll listen to that as well. I'll let this play through so it doesn't jar, but scene 2 is my sort of verse part to it, and I'll let you hear that. So this monologue 56 patch, I'm not sure if this is working, I'll let you hear it. Sounds kind of cool. It's got its reverb, erosion, it's got a bit of EQ on it as well from the fab filter cutting out the bass. I like this sound on its own, but I don't know if it's working in the mix. Kind of. Might be useful when it comes to arranging to have that, but I'm going to mute it now. So most of the sounds are the same as the one I've shown you. We've got a different chord pattern, and but the bass line is much more active this time to give it more energy. So yeah, pretty similar to scene 1, different chords, different bass line. But scene 3, I'm sure you've been waiting to see this, the acid scene. Oh yeah, let's hear it. So based on a 303, which is a classic acid rave bassline synth made by Roland. I've got the samples from Mars plugins here. So like I was saying, layering. Don't layer in the same frequency, mix them up, so that's high. Kind of mid, low. Oh no, sorry, that's more mid, that's more low. But together, layered, you get that, which is quite nice. Also, we got more monologue weirdness from a chord monologue. Let's hear that on its own. Yes. Similar, buzzy, weird. Sounds like an old modem loading up. In contrast with the smoother parts of the track. We got a bit of reduction, redux thing, which gives that really harsh digital distortion. And then I've also added a Lin drum. A Lin drum's a classic 80s drum machine. Prince used it all the time. Oh, Prince. So what I've added is a snare drum. One fun thing is I made a mistake. So some patterns via MIDI, I was actually playing in via this guy. It was looping around the chord monologue, sending MIDI, and I forgot to switch it off. And I just made this kind of weird pattern on the Lin drum. I think I want to keep it. I think I quite like it. As you can see, we've got not 1, not 2, but 3 sections to a track. All that's left to do is arrange it, make sure there's nothing else we can add to it to make better, automate some of the parameters in the arrangement, then mix it. And I'll be showing you guys how I've mixed it later on. So, thanks for tuning in. Alright everyone, that's me pretty much passed out after making that wee tutorial and then making a track. So yeah, I got all this stuff ready, 3 sections, loads of channels of music, ready to arrange tomorrow, and also we're going to get a mix tomorrow as well, hopefully. And then I'll be ready for the crazy art installation for the game thing for the kids. So I am going to bed, I'm knackered, I've had a great time hanging out with you guys. Ladies and gents, thanks for tuning in. Enjoy your whiskey, enjoy your synths. If you want to see more tutorials, artist interviews, I don't know, studio tours, we got loads of stuff on the channel already and more coming up. Hit that ding, subscribe, and thanks for tuning in. I'm delirious, I'm laughing, I'm just like, I'm off to bed, right? I hope you enjoyed it. Catch you later. Bye, cheers.